She was down 1-5 and everyone thought it was over. Then this happened. A champion serving for the match. A 5-game lead. A stadium full of flags that had gone almost silent. And one 21-year-old who refused to accept that the scoreboard was final. By the time the last ball landed, the defending champion was packing her bags, and a crowd that had traveled from every corner of the Filipino diaspora in America was on its feet, screaming a name that, for weeks earlier, most casual tennis fans outside the Philippines had never even heard. This is the story of how Eala lost 5 straight games, fell 1-5 behind, and somehow still found a way to win. Stay with me because the ending of this match is not even the craziest part of this story. What happened in the final 3 minutes will make you question everything you think you know about pressure, and I promise you will not see it coming. Before we get into it, if you love underdog stories, comeback tennis, and athletes who refuse to quit, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications right now because we cover moments like this one every single week, and you do not want to miss the next one. Washington, D.C., late July 2026. The William H.G. Fitzgerald Tennis Center, home of the Mubadala D.C. Open, one of the biggest tennis stops in the American summer hardcourt swing. It is not a Grand Slam. It is not even one of the tour's very biggest events. And yet, on this particular Wednesday, the atmosphere inside that stadium felt like something closer to a national holiday than a second-round match. Why? Because of one player, Eala, ranked number 28 in the world, from the Philippines. Tournament director Mark Einlader admitted something remarkable. For weeks leading up to the event, his ticketing team kept fielding the exact same question over and over again. When is Alex playing? Not the top seed. Not the reigning US Open finalist in the draw. Eala. Ein said the honest number was close to virtually every single inquiry. That is not an exaggeration from a marketing department. That is a tournament director admitting that one player from one country had completely rewritten the demand for tickets at his event. So picture the scene. Filipino flags across the stands. Fans who had traveled, some from other states entirely, just to be inside that stadium. And on the other side of the net stood the woman standing between Eala and the quarterfinals. Leylah Fernandez of Canada, the 7th seed, and, this is important, the defending champion of this exact tournament. The opponent. Fernandez was not some unknown name plugged in to make the draw look tougher. She was a 2021 US Open finalist. She had reached a career-high ranking of number 13 in the world. And on top of all of that, there is a detail that made this matchup even more emotionally loaded. Fernandez has Filipino roots through her mother. 2 players with a connection to the same country were about to walk onto the same court. But on this night, in this city, the crowd's energy belonged almost entirely to one of them. And Fernandez had history on her side. Just months earlier, back in April, at the Stuttgart Open in Germany, Fernandez had beaten Eala in straight sets, 6-1, 6-4. It had not been close. Eala walked into Washington with that memory still fresh, knowing exactly how dangerous her opponent could be if things got away from her. Set 1, Eala in control. For one set, none of that mattered. Eala came out and played some of the cleanest, most controlled tennis of the entire tournament. She stepped inside the baseline. She took the ball early. She kept dragging Fernandez into uncomfortable positions, forcing weak forehands, refusing to give the defending champion any rhythm at all. The numbers tell the story better than words can. In that opening set alone, Fernandez committed 14 unforced errors across just 8 games. Eala committed 4. Eala broke serve twice, closed it out with a clinical return game, and took the first set 6-2. The Filipino fans in the stands had exactly what they came for. Their player was dominating a defending champion, and the match looked like it might be over quickly. It was not. The turn. Here is where the story gets interesting, and where a lot of people watching that night assumed they already knew how the rest of the match would go. Early in the second set, there was a long, brutal service game. The score kept returning to deuce. Eala earned a break point. Fernandez saved it. Then Fernandez finally escaped that game on her 6th game point with a clean backhand winner. It was one game, but something shifted. Fernandez's shoulders relaxed. Her serve started landing with more pop. Her forehand, which had been leaking errors all set, suddenly started finding depth again. She broke Eala. Then she held. Then she broke again. One game turned into two. Two turned into three. Then four. Then 5 straight games in a row for Fernandez. The scoreboard now read 1-5 in the second set. Fernandez was 1 game away from forcing a deciding third set, and she was serving with all the momentum, all the confidence, and a crowd that, for the first time all night, had gone noticeably quiet. Adding to the pressure on Eala's side, this was not her first long battle of the week. 1 round earlier, she had needed nearly 2.5 hours to escape a 3-set battle against Olympic gold medalist Zheng Qinwen, coming back from a set down to win 4-6, 6-4, 6-1 despite Zheng firing 14 aces at her. The physical cost of that match was still in her legs. Everything, the score, the momentum, the fatigue, pointed toward one outcome. Fernandez was going to force a third set and quite possibly finish the job. The detail nobody noticed. But hidden inside that lopsided score was a detail that almost nobody in the stadium clocked in the moment. Fernandez had won 5 straight games, and yet, she had still not actually earned a single set point. At one stage, on Eala's serve, Fernandez had a chance to create 2 separate set points. Eala held her nerve, saved the chances, and pulled the score back to 2-5. Fernandez now had to serve out the set herself. This should have been the routine part. Her game was flowing. Her confidence was sky-high. All she needed to do was hold serve one more time. Instead, something changed in her approach, and it would end up costing her everything. The collapse. Fernandez started pressing. Instead of continuing with the patient, aggressive baseline game that had just won her 5 straight games, she began trying to end points earlier. She aimed closer to the lines. She reached for winners that weren't quite there. After the match, Fernandez herself admitted what happened in her own words. She said she wanted the win too badly, that she got too aggressive, and that she drifted away from the exact patterns that had built her 5-1 lead in the first place. That opening was all Eala needed. She broke serve. 3-5. The gap on the scoreboard was still enormous, but the temperature inside the stadium changed instantly. The Filipino fans who had gone quiet came roaring back to life with every single deep return. Eala held. For 5. Fernandez had to serve for the set again, and this time the pressure was suffocating. Minutes earlier she'd held a 4-game cushion. Now, a single break separated her from watching the entire lead disappear. The rally that changed everything. Then came the point that turned the whole match on its head. Fernandez moved Eala from corner to corner and created a clean opening. A floating ball sitting up, begging to be put away at the net. For one split second, Fernandez hesitated on whether to close in and finish it. That hesitation lasted less than a second. It was enough. Eala recovered, turned defense into a neutral rally, then stepped forward and ripped consecutive forehands that changed the direction of the point entirely, finishing it with a clean winner. 5-5. The stadium exploded. Every person inside that arena now understood, in real time, that this was no longer a formality for Fernandez. This was a genuine collapse, and Eala had just completed 4 straight games in a row of her own. Eala held. 6-5. Fernandez, somehow, dug in one more time and held her own serve to force a tiebreak. The set was level again. But the confidence in that stadium had completely traded sides. The tiebreak. Fernandez walked into that tiebreak carrying the memory of blowing a 5-game lead. Eala walked in carrying momentum, clarity, and thousands of fans who fully expected her to finish the job. The gap showed immediately. Eala raced out to a 3-love lead in the breaker and never gave it back, dictating every single rally. She closed it out 7-1. Final score, 6-2, 7-6, 1. Across the full match, Fernandez finished with a staggering 42 unforced errors. The defending champion of the tournament was out. Alex Eala, the player half the ticket requests in Washington had been about, was moving on to the quarterfinals. Why this wasn't a fluke? Here's what makes this story bigger than one wild set of tennis. This was not an isolated miracle. For weeks before this match, Eala had already beaten Iga Swiatek, one of the biggest names in the sport, in the 3rd round of Wimbledon. Now, in Washington, she had eliminated another defending tournament champion in Fernandez. 2 events in a row. 2 significant scalps. And this pattern of refusing to accept a losing scoreboard has shown up again and again in her career. At the 2025 US Open, in her Grand Slam main draw debut win, Eala found herself down 5-1 in the deciding third set against 14th-seeded Clara Tauson of Denmark. She clawed back to level the set at 5 games apiece, forced a tiebreak, and then survived a brutal back-and-forth tiebreak that Tauson herself nearly stole back from 8 points down, before Eala finally closed it out 13-11 on her 5th match point. That win made her the first player from the Philippines in the Open era to win a Grand Slam main draw singles match. The pattern is becoming impossible to ignore. Down a set and a break against Qinwen Zheng, she found a way. Down 1-5 in a deciding set against Tauson at a Grand Slam, she found a way. Down 1-5 in a second set against a defending champion in Washington, she found a way again. What actually changed the match? So what is the real explanation here? It is tempting to say the crowd carried her back into the match, and the atmosphere absolutely mattered, but noise alone does not repair a forehand or force an opponent into 42 unforced errors. The real shift came down to 2 things happening on opposite sides of the net at the exact same time. Eala stopped trying to solve the entire 5-game deficit in one swing. She focused on winning the very next point, then the next hold, then the next break, refusing to let the size of the deficit dictate her decision-making. Meanwhile, Fernandez did the opposite. She started trying to protect a lead instead of building on it, reaching for the finish line instead of trusting the game plan that had gotten her there. One player got more disciplined exactly when the pressure increased. The other got less patient at the exact same moment. That is what actually flipped this match, and that crowd, full of flags and unwavering belief, simply made sure the pressure never let up on Fernandez's side of the court while it happened. The bigger picture. Eala is no longer arriving at tournaments as a surprise. She is arriving with a reputation now. A player who has already knocked out a former Grand Slam finalist, an Olympic gold medalist, and one of the most recognizable names in women's tennis, all within the space of a few weeks. Opponents scouting her matches now have to plan for the version of Eala that shows up when she's down a break, not just the version that shows up when she's ahead. And for the growing community of Filipino tennis fans now filling stadiums across the United States, from Flushing Meadows in New York to Rock Creek Park in Washington, these are not just wins on a scoreboard. They are proof that a player from a country with almost no tradition of top-level tennis success can walk into any arena in the world and turn it, for one night, into a home crowd. Closing hook. So here's the question heading into her next match. After 2 straight tournaments where she has eliminated a defending champion, is the rest of the WTA Tour finally starting to fear facing Alex Eala? Or is this run about to hit a wall against someone who won't let the momentum turn? Drop your prediction in the comments below, and if you want to see how her next match plays out, make sure you are subscribed with notifications on, because the story is far from finished, and you will not want to miss what happens next.